G'day fellas. Welcome to the second game in the series between nOel and Harrison. In this game, they're playing China, who's spawning in the south for Harrison, and in the north of the map, we've got nOel playing on the Spanish. The map is Kamchatka, which is an infamous map for the goats that spawn in the middle. Often there are big fights that happen over these goats. A group of two spawning in the north of the island, a group of two normally spawning in the south of the island, but it looks like there's only been a single group that have spawned today, so I'm not sure exactly why that is. We also have groups of, or a single goats that are dotted around the map, so a couple of goats up the north as well. Goats over to the west, goats over to the south, and goats over to the east. Two explorers now meeting up in the middle of the map. Harrison playing his infamous Chinese, and nOel on the Spanish. Be curious to see what kind of strategy he's going to be pulling out today. Are we going to potentially see some logistician? Logistician has been taking over the ladder recently, so there is potential that we do see some logistician out of nOel. Now, for anybody wondering about the score in this game, you do see in the top right-hand corner of the screen right now that nOel is sitting on 3 points. This series is a blind civ series, which is being hosted by EGCTV, and that means that players win points based on the civilizations that they choose. The United States is worth 4 points, whereas civilizations like the Swedes, the Brits, and Spain are worth 2 points. The Chinese, which is what Harrison has elected to choose, is worth 3 points, so he is potentially up for a tie. Now, it is the first to 11 points, so it means that both players will, or one player will have to reach 11 points before they win the series. We now take a look at nOel. We see that nOel's is getting caught out in a bit of a poor position here. We see his explorer's name is Kaiser Ryan, a beautiful name if I do say so myself. All three units from Harrison are chasing down the explorer, and this is fine for nOel. nOel loves this, and the reason why nOel loves this is because all three units aren't looking for goats, and that's exactly what Harrison needs to be doing. Now, Harrison starts with villages, okay? So these villages work as livestock pens. They fatten up these goats, so he needs to be out here on the map searching for those goats, and unfortunately for him, it looks like he hasn't found any just yet, whereas his opponent, nOel, has found 6 goats already, so doing quite a lot of work. 6 goats is definitely a lot of food, especially if they're fattened up, so 300 times 6, so picking up a 7th one. So that's now 2,100 additional food if those are fattened. We do see that Harrison is taking that treasure in the middle of the map, though, picking up the 80 wood. Going to be doing a decent amount of work for him. He's also got these 2 villages down, so often we see players like Mito going for a 3-village opening when they've got a big treasure like the 80 wood. It's a little bit hard to guarantee a treasure like that in the middle of the map here, so understandable why he would be going for only a 2-village age up. We'll take a look at his deck and see what he's got for us. 1v1 land, 5 of the age 4 cards. We've got some beautiful fireworks going on in the background as well. So apologies if they're coming through a little bit loud. They are a little bit loud on my end. Got 3 unit shipments in age 2, as well as 3 unit shipments in age 3, plus intervention, which is technically a unit shipment, and the Manchu, so definitely a wise choice to be including that in this matchup. Most of you guys will be familiar with the Spanish Lancer. The Spanish Lancer is as infamous in this matchup just for the amount of damage that we do. And we see a beautiful deck coming out here from nOel called the Logistician. You love to see it. So nOel here, or nOel going for a 7 sheep and 1 homestead wagon. So this is an infinite card. And now we've got the fireworks in the Spanish home city. This is a little bit of a bug. It happens because of the fireworks in the home city of the Chinese. So 7 sheep and the 1 homestead wagon. So I would suspect that we might actually be seeing that as the second card here for nOel, and with a very good reason, my friends. That is going to enable him to fatten up all of these goats. Now, he's got 6 goats. It looks like he might have eaten his 7th one, or potentially lost his 7th one. Never mind. It's just coming in a little bit slowly. Going up with the Logistician, so potentially going to be sending it, I suspect, probably around here. If you're looking up to the top of your screen, you'll see in the UI my mouse hovering around the eye in exploration. So that's when you want to be sending in your second shipment with the Logistician. So he is going up with the Logistician. We do see that. Harrison barely got his age up in queue just yet, eating a couple of goats. So always feel bad when you're eating goats early as the Chinese, because these could be potentially 300 food goats in a couple of minutes, but not always the way. Harrison now going down with the Summer Palace. We do see in the front of his base, this is a big wonder, big base, 5,000 hit points, so a lot of health on this bad boy. Harrison now idling down the bottom here. I think he's probably just picked up a treasure, and that's why he's gone idle right now. We'll take a look back at nOel, see what he's up to. He's found an 80 or 75 wood treasure of his own in the north of the map. So we did see Harrison earlier picked up that 80 wood treasure. So going to be evening things up with this 75 wood treasure, and have a look at the resources that are coming in right now for nOel. We're going to be riding with nOel because he's going to be the first one to age up. And we'll speed it up just a little bit. We'll see if he gets... He does get, indeed, the 7 sheep and homestead wagon. He actually cancelled it just to make sure that it comes in. So it needs to be just about the A, so it's okay. It's probably going to come in a little bit delayed. But looking like he wants to do some sort of fast fortress, potentially. He's collected enough wood that he could be dropping down a trading post. We actually do see he is going for the trading post over on the left-hand side. So I thought he'd actually taken this trading post already. So this is going to be a very greedy play from nOel. So we see him aging up now at about 4 minutes 32, 4 minutes 33 potentially. Is that what we see? Let's have a look. 4:34. So now we're going to see the 7 sheep coming in behind this. Take a look at his resources because he's aged up with the logistician. Here it comes. 100 wood, 100 coin, and 200 food. Boom. There it is. Instantly deposited. Direct deposit into his account. Doesn't have to wait the normal turnaround time that the banks have got. So the banks have normally got like a couple days for international transfers, just like you're getting them from the old world into the new world. But not the logistician. The logistician is instant. And we've got all those goats now. It looks like there's a couple of sheep on the... getting on here. So ideally he'd want to have the goats on here, and he actually realizes that and pulls them off because the goats are already fattened a little bit. So you want to max them out as quickly as possible. And now we see Freitag going down to the town center, scouting out the base of Harrison. So doing the right thing, 300 wood coming in behind this. Now it's technically a 400 wood shipment that's going to be coming in here, as well as 100 coin and that 200 wood. So there we see it coming in. Huge amount of wood now coming in for nOel. A barracks going down in the back of the base at 5 minutes 20. So not opting for any kind of fortress play, even though it looks like he's macroing towards that fortress age. We'll take a look at Harrison. We'll ride with him for a little bit, see what he's up to. He's going for an in-base war academy, as well as an in-base village. So he's got his 3 villages up. A lot of line of sight in his base, looking really good. Explorer up towards the north, sending in the 8 CKNs from the home city. Going to be sending in the 9 pikemen as well. We see that from the Summer Palace, he's making the Old Head army as well as training them. So going to see a potential push coming out. Maybe a timing push coming out from Harrison. From nOel's perspective, got a lot of villagers in queue at the moment and going up with 5 muskets. Sending from the home city, resource allocation, so 400 coin here. Going to be providing him almost enough resources to age up to the 3rd age. So not a bad build order at all. It definitely seems like nOel's been practicing his stuff. And now we see he's sitting up on 830 resources, or 830 coin rather. Very close to the age up now. Doing a little bit of market trading, I think. Just trading out a couple of, or a little bit of food. And going up with the scout now, so going to have this in queue for quite an early age up, and I do love the playstyle from nOel here, especially with this food. This is going to be hitting for a very decent timing, a total of 14 sheep and goats, so that's going to give him access to, I'm just going to do some quick math here, 4,200 food that he normally wouldn't have access to. Now keep in mind, on this map in particular, hunts are plentiful, okay? There's lots of hunts to the north, lots of hunts down to the south. But the primary issue is, when your opponent puts on pressure, it's very difficult to get a hold of these hunts. So by him doing this, it really enables him to stay in his base for a lot longer than what he normally would be able to. So the fact that he's sent a pen really sort of helps him out and enables him to stay in his base for much longer than he normally would. So now we take a look at his deck, we see what options he's got, and there's no unit shipments in here. I love this from nOel. I do suspect that we're going to be seeing the 2 Falconets as the first card, followed by Spanish Gold, or vice versa, and then just going with resource shipments. Just going with flat resource shipments. They are very strong. They're equivalent to about 1,100 resources, so really, really, really strong. Now all villages evacuating into the town center. We've got 18 villages in there, and a nice timing push coming out from Harrison at this point. I don't think that nOel would have expected this. And now we've got a pretty decent mass over on the north side of the base of nOel, but the sieging of the town center has begun for Harrison. Harrison has housed himself at the moment. He's got to get this one out because he's got a badge sitting here waiting, ready to go. We take a look. The CKN need to move into position. We can see that the pikes need to be over here. Call your pikes back, Harrison. You want to keep your pikes sieging. We take a look at nOel. We see that he's almost aged up here. So if these pikes are over here, they need to be sieging down this town center because then they're going to be potentially taking down the town center completely. And that's exactly what's happened. So he's doing the right thing, focusing down the town center. I'm not sure if the town center is going to be able to make it. He's got 3,200 health, so less than half. And now the villagers getting pulled to try and do their best. Let's see if the archers are going to be able to take out any of the villagers. These villagers do not have their greatcoats, so a big oversight from nOel. He knows that he's playing up against Harrison. Harrison is notorious for taking out people without their greatcoats. And potentially going to be taking this out. It looks like he might be able to get it up. He's got 1,400 hit points on it. I think he's going to be safe. Minutemen not being called yet. The 4 husks coming out just in time. Going to be able to clean this up. He's only got a few pikemen that are left now. So 10 pikemen coming in. This is the only shipment point that nOel has got. So we've now got a little bit of a scuffle that's on our hands. The musketeers fighting against the CKN. War dogs being called or being trained as well. We've got Kaiser Kryan on the back line. Is he training any more war dogs? He may have been, but he's gone down once again for the third time, I think, this game potentially. And it looks like Harrison's actually going to be able to do a pretty good job of cleaning this up. 2 falconets now coming in as well for nOel. nOel needs to keep his musketeers alive, because if Harrison has got a 7-step timing, which he has got coming in, this is going to clean up the falconets. Harrison obviously demonstrating that he has done a lot of research on this matchup, a lot of foresight coming through. These 7 steps are perfectly timed for the falconets that are inevitably going to be called. He needs to be under this town center. I want to see him sieging it down. He's got a lot of units here, probably more than enough that he could use to be sieging it down. Needs to take out Don Gatto as well here, not Don Artie. Definitely not to be confused with Don Artie. Don Gatto is going down. Going to be down along the lines of Kaiser Kryan. And we take a look back. We see that the 2 falconets are coming in, followed by the resource allocation of the 400 coin. 2 falconets now popping out on the front line. Looks like Noel's done a little bit of a mistake here. Needed to have villagers come out in front of them instead of behind them. Falconet's getting a beautiful shot off on the back line of the CKM, but the first falconet is potentially going to be going down now, getting focused down by the step riders. Second falconet getting off its volley onto the back line. Looks like the first falconet has gone down. Second falconet remains alive despite the 7 step riders, 6 step riders now. And it looks like Harrison's going to walk away. He probably could have taken out this last falconet, but deciding that he's not going to bother investing in it. Taking out a few villages as well. Down to 17 villages now for nOel. We'll do a bit of a stock take. We see those 17 villagers up against the 29 of Harrison. So Harrison putting nOel to shame. Now Harrison doesn't have his great coats yet. Now obviously for the Asian civilizations, you don't have access to great coats, but you do have access to other villager upgrades that will increase your villager hit points. So good to see that Harrison is potentially going to consider that, because he's got his market up. Also sending in 700 coin. So gone 3 unit shipments followed by 700 coin. So potentially looking at aging up himself to the fortress age now, after putting out a little bit of damage on the front line. I do suspect we're going to be seeing Spanish gold coming in as the next card. Got these fireworks in the Spanish home city, because they are having a wonderful time. Probably, what are some Spanish celebrations that the Spanish celebrate? I don't know too well. I guess, what's that one? Oh no, that's Brazilian. You know the ones where they dance in the street? Carnival. That's a Brazilian thing. Never mind. I guess, is Brazilian? Yeah, Brazilian. Probably Brazilian. So it's very dangerous leaving the falconet alive in this position, because this falconet, there was a very clear chance or clear opportunity to take it out and to get rid of it. Of course, you're going to lose your step riders, but, you know, any day of the week, I'm going to take a falconet over 6 step riders. So we'll take a look at Harrison, see what he's up to. Harrison now moving out over onto the left-hand side of the map, just looking to get a bit of a control down. Going to be potentially macroing towards an age up. We'll just slightly speed up this game, ever so slightly. More units coming out in towards the middle of the map. And Harrison definitely posturing now for a more of a mid-game play. Going to have that age up in queue undoubtedly within the next 20 seconds, I suspect. Macro looking very on point. Harrison doing very well. What does he choose to go up with? Do we see the porcelain tower out of him? Do we potentially see the what's it called? The one with the arquebuses. It is indeed the Confucian Academy. That's the one that it's called. So Confucian Academy going to be providing that slow trickle of free flying crows, as well as the 10, I think it's 10, no, 8 arquebuses upon age up to the 3rd age. We see another shipment coming in. Probably going to be saving this for something like the 5 meteor hammers, or even potentially the Manchu. Obviously dealing with the Spanish cavalry can always be difficult. Now we see a wall coming in from Harrison. A bit of a curious wall. It almost looks like there's a hole in here. I'm not sure exactly if that's intentional, if that's been left in like that. But it almost looked like there could have been a clear wall that went across here. There's a treasure here, some weasels that are worth 30 coin as well. Harrison now allying himself with the British. Very Harrison-esque style. Going to be calling in those British musketeers as well. They're going to be upgrading. So probably going to be seeing a intervention card as the first shipment from once we reach the 3rd age. Let's take a look. Reaching the 3rd age, getting the disciplined young pikemen in as well. And we've got intervention coming in from the home city. So exactly as we suspected, a decent mass now coming out for China. We take a look at nOel. We see what he's up to. By no means a non-formidable mass. Definitely quite decent. 10 Spanish lancers here as well. Sending in the Caballeros card. So this is going to increase the amount of damage that the lancers are doing. So increasing it and actually changing it back. Changing his mind. Saying I'm going to send in resource allocation instead. So still hasn't sent in this Spanish gold yet. So if he was sending in Spanish gold here, it would actually be giving him an extra 400 coin for each one of these shipments as well. So you want to try and get in that Spanish gold as quickly as you can. It helps out with a lot with your scaling. And we speed up the game just ever so slightly to see what each player is up to. More walls coming in from Harrison on the north side of the map now. Training a territorial army. Harrison beginning to move out. Needs to be aware that there's still that falconet that remains. I suspect he knows that it's got about 80 HP on it and that he's going to be able to deal with it effectively. We take a look at his opponent. We see nOel beginning to move up with those veteran lancers. He's training more veteran lancers in queue. 5 more veteran lancers coming out. His town center is still sitting on 1,100 hit points at this point. A single petard could blow that town center down just like a big bad wolf that they are. We see the scores now beginning to even up. Harrison still slightly pulling ahead, but nOel still doing his best. He's creeping forward with the falconet, taking off the first volley. Now Harrison could just move forward and end this falconet's life. The villager moving forward needs to be careful. Villager, wake up! Villager, wake up! Not like this. Villager going to be going down, and that's exactly what Harrison does. Harrison actually moves forward. The falconet is out of position and goes down to the Chokunu from Harrison. So very well played. A lot of lancers though. A huge amount of lancers. Harrison, your shipment is about to come in, Harrison. You know what you do? Just sell all your food, Harrison, and just ship in the Manchus. That's what you need right now. You need those Manchus so badly. That is a lot of lancers. Let's see it. Let's see. I just want to see him just market sell all of that food right now. Oh, Changdao's, I mean, it can work, but against this many lancers, look at him trying to punish this fight. He's really trying to get aggressive with this. He needs to just be doing his best to get onto the other side of these walls and just really try and escape with as much of his mass as he can. And that's fortunate because he's been able to do that now. Sentries were being called, but they've been cancelled ever so slightly. And at this point, we need to wait. You got to wait for that shipment to come in. I think he's going to try and do his best to get a Changdao pop, but the primary issue that he's going to have is these lancers are just absolutely potent. A bit of a raid coming down now on the backside. Some step riders just sieging down a wall for Harrison at the north of the map. We've got more Changdaos out in the middle of the map. Harrison, you got to bring these back home, boy. And more villagers as well. This villager never got killed. It's just sitting idle at the moment. More villagers down to the south. Got to be careful. Village going up though. This will be able to protect them. And we spot the mass moving away. So nOel probably smelling that something might be up. Maybe that there could be a Manchu pop or that there could be a Changdao pop. The Changdao's coming out now. Harrison still hasn't spotted these. Now we've got some cavalry coming out. That villager finally going down. Doing a lot of scouting. 39 villagers now for Harrison against the 26 villagers for nOel. Finally, that villager going down. 19 lancers at this point. And so this is the amount of lancers where you should be, as a Chinese player, triggered to be like, okay, I probably need to stop making infantry at this point. And that's exactly what Harrison is doing. He's got the Forbidden Army that's coming out. So 2 Meteor Hammers, 2 Iron Flails. That's going to be dealing quite effectively with the veteran lancers, but he really needs to have Manchu. I really want to see him call Manchu in this position. When your opponent is investing this many resources into cavalry, you got to try and do your best to counter them. We take a look at Harrison. Harrison says, you know what? I don't like the position that I'm in. I'm going to begin pushing into your base. We saw him do this in the first game. Let's see if it pulls out with a bit more success. And we see a tavern. This is a tavern going up, right? A mercenary building. It's called the Hombreros the Habaneros y Hombres. It's a mercenary building, so I think it's the tavern. It's trained sinister outlaws and mercenaries. It has been renamed. We do see that on the south side of the map that the consulate has gone down. So Harrison going to be doing the same thing on the north side of the map. But this time, he's got a lot of punishment that he's going to be able to do because the town center never got healed up. 1,100 hit points going to be going down to 350. Looks like Noel's going to be doing his best to trade it out, but the villagers in the town center are now exposed, and the army from Harrison is moving in. Take a look at all this anti-cavalry that's here. A lot of siege. Villagers now going down to 14 villages. There's no shipment point left for nOel. Harrison definitely in a better position than nOel. A lot more siege on Harrison's army than there is on nOel's. And now villagers trying to get into the action. These villagers do not have their villager HP upgrade, Harrison. You got to be careful with them, putting them in the town center. And the Lancer just almost one-shotting the CKN there. Look at that, taking it down to 16 HP. So he's definitely got his Caballeros upgrade. I think with Cav Combat, he'll probably be starting to one-shot those units now. And we do see that the next shipment has come in, but he's got nothing that he can send through because he doesn't have any outpost. He doesn't have any town center, no shipment point whatsoever. Whereas we take a look at Harrison. Harrison has got plenty of shipment points. He's got 1-2 villages as well as a town center. No further. We've got a village down to the south as well. Now we start to see the artillery rolling out for the Chinese player Harrison. I watch all these Chinese games and I tell you what, guys, I feel like I want to start playing Chinese more and more because they are just looking incredibly dominant in this game. 17 villages tucked up in this town center. I'd like to see Harrison begin to run them to the north. He's got a nice wall up here, already got a gate in it where he could be evacuating these villages. He's burning down. Honestly, at this point, you've taken out so much from your opponent. I feel like it's probably a good idea that you just come back to your base. You've got a lot that you can potentially lose here. You don't want to be losing your Summer Palace. You don't want to be losing your Confucian Academy. And if you do lose them, it's a big deal. So now calling some Minutemen to, or some sentries, as well as the regulars, or rather irregulars, to deal with this. Looks like the shipment's going to be coming in for Harrison. Despite losing his town center, he's got the villagers here that it's going to be coming to. And definitely a bit of a scrappy game unfolding now. Harrison definitely opting for scrappy games more than he's opting for non-scrappy games. So twice we've seen him go for the base trade. Take a look at the score. Harrison really knows what's up. Harrison's mastery of the Chinese just, you know, really being demonstrated here. And now looking out on the map for more and more villages. More villages being found in the north. Now Harrison's going to know that, and he's going to be sending his cavalry over to come and deal with this. Look at these toxic walls going up from Harrison as well. Looks like they're going to be doing a little bit of a base trade in the sense that they're going to be taking, each player is going to be taking the base. Now we've just got a single flying crow that's going to be left in the base of nOel. It's going to be doing the damage. And now we've got a fort coming in. So an outpost down to the south. So I don't know what exactly a fort is going to be doing in this position for nOel, but I guess he doesn't really have any other options. He's down to 15 villages. They're all down in the south of the map. A couple more Rodoleros around harassing. And a whole bunch of villagers in the base of Harrison now. So they've really done a base switch. It wasn't so much a trade. It was like a base switch. You know, I'm sure you've seen that TV show, Wife Swap. Well, I welcome you guys to the first episode of Base Swap, starring nOel and Harrison. Cavalry combat now going to be coming in as well. And the primary issue that nOel's got is that he's just got really... He's sending in cavalry combat, but he just, unfortunately, doesn't really have any cavalry for it, with the exception of these 20 darn lancers. So 20 lancers with cav combat probably going to be able to one-shot the CKNs. I'm curious to see the fort is managing to go up now. And so this fort is going to be able to provide a lot of coverage in this region of the map, give him a lot of good protection on these resources. There's plenty of hunts around here. 1-2 hunts. No, I don't think there's any hunt in here. Let's have a look. No hunt. But a lot of good coverage for the Spanish player now to the south. And now we've got a bit of a fight happening out in the middle. Lancers catching a hold of some of those iron flails. We do have the cav combat, which is going to be coming in. I suspect we're going to see... so they're going to be up to 23 melee attack. And then that'll give them a total of... I'm just going to do some quick math here. 23, 83, 92 attack. It's going to give them 92 attack. So we have a look at the CKN. They've got 96 hit points. So quite literally, just 4 hit points will keep them alive. Do we have a consulate yet? Well, I don't think we've got a consulate back up for Harrison just yet. So still no consulate for him yet. And slowly, this flying crow is doing its magic on the base of nOel. We're going to speed it up again as this military composition moves across the map over towards the south side of the map. We take a look at Harrison's perspective. I feel like he's got quite a large mass at this point, just endlessly following the units of his opponent around the map. Definitely a bit more of a scrappy game than usual. More villagers now. Harrison on 31 villages compared to 15 of his opponents, so definitely got a much greater economy. Definitely feels a lot safer up in this corner as well. I would say that you would feel very safe up here. A lot of nice walls in here to protect. A couple of layers in here as well. This hole in the wall is very existent, as I did suspect. And Harrison just pulling back at the moment. Despite having a 5k score lead, we do see nOel deciding to just sort of each player to do their own thing. Now we take a look at the military population. He's got 70 population out of 10. So it's going to take him more than 700 wood just to get unpopped. Meanwhile, he's actually losing his very last house in the base right now to Harrison's flying crow. So now he's sitting at 70 of 0. Now we've got a bit of a tussle potentially going to happen. Lancers charging forward. We slow it down. We see all the Chang Daos and pikemen just moving in a position like, no, you do not touch my friend. Actually, they're Chinese. But I don't think I can do a Chinese accent. That'd probably be perceived as racist. So I'm not going to do that one. We'll just leave them as the Russian accent because they could potentially ally with the Russians. And that's why they speak with Russian accent. Do not touch my friend. Almost got a bit of Arnie in there as well. So who knows? Somewhere East European potentially. But we take a look at the supply difference now. We see 150 supply up against 70 supply. So Harrison has continued adding units throughout this game. A huge economy behind him. Just taking a swig of the Red Bull right now. That is absolutely delicious. And I tell you what, it's been definitely needed. This game now heading into its 22nd minute. Neither player really looking to commit. We do see a bit of a Lancer raid now coming down from the south. Oh, he spots out a whole bunch of units. Now, I'd be pretty confident that he could potentially take those units head on without the Manchu there to support. I mean, actually, I take it back. That's a lot of units. I recall my previous statement. That is a lot of units, even for that many Lancers. And now we've got the resource allocation. So Harrison is in a difficult spot because he doesn't know about this fort, okay? But when he finds out about this fort, he's going to be like, okay, well, my opponent's invested in a fort. I can't go over there. And so then we're going to even have like a potentially longer game. So I'd be curious to see whether Harrison does make the decision to siege that up. So now the fort is being uncovered. Does he just head straight to the fort? I suspect he probably wouldn't. Potentially going to need some hand mortars. I think hand mortars are going to be a great option. So maybe bringing the Flying Crow over. Maybe bring just a couple of villages over. So like take 2 or 3 of these villages and build a castle right here. And then from that castle, train... Oh my god, no, he's not doing it. Harrison is dropping down a dock. Oh my lord, what are you doing with this dock here, Harrison? Flying Crow going down as well on the back line. Lance is catching it out. So Harrison thinking of... I really have no idea what Harrison was thinking with this dock. But nonetheless, definitely... I guess he probably could train a fusion here, but it's just still going to get destroyed. I think maybe he was looking for line of sight with it. How did he even get this up? Did he have like a dock wagon or something? I got no idea where the villagers are, but he needs to bring a couple of villagers forward. Now, he could build he's building a town center in his base. Now, he could be building an outpost or a castle. Actually, he's dropping down a second town center as well. Harrison really investing in the late game here. Now, he could be dropping down a castle in his base, but I would prefer him to do it forward just because it's going to really help up with the speed of his push. In this position, he really wants to make sure that he's able to take out the fortress from his opponent, and he's not going to be able to do it without those units. But we see, oh my lord, look at this card that he's sent through. So he sent through the card, Saga Herd. Each village and town center will do a one-time muster of 4 Sagas. So that's 1,600 food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 Sagas coming in for Harrison. That is huge. At this point in the game, at 24 minutes into the game, where the game is like, at this point, it's in a very difficult spot. There's not too many hunts on the map. 24 Sagas is a lot of Sagas. That is a huge amount of food. 24 by, what is it, 24 by 4? Yeah, 24 by 400. So more than, almost 10,000 food coming in for Harrison. So definitely not too bad. And now we've got what appears to be a battle potentially going to be happening right now. The players finally meeting up. We've got a lot of Discipline Keshik here on the backline for Harrison. 9 Discipline Keshik. Do we have that Keshik card coming in? No, we don't see it coming in for Harrison. Speed it up just a little bit more as the players continue to fight it out. That town center under the fort of nOel. Training some Hussars as well. So he was moving with Lancers earlier, but now he's thinking he might switch it up into Hussars. Lancers are in a bit of a difficult spot. We take a look at the military population, 175 versus 84. I would say in this position, it is very close to being over, but one of the things that you've got to be aware of, don't underestimate Lancers, okay? If these Lancers don't get focused down, they are going to be putting out so much damage. So there is a real potential threat that these Lancers could very easily overwhelm this army. Now, this is a pretty decent mass from Harrison. Harrison also like doing very well when it comes to his economy as well, focusing on his villages at this point in the game, which is the right thing. It's exactly what he needs to be doing, taking down that trading post after 26 minutes of it being up. And now we take a look back at nOel. We see that nOel is now training some more Lancers. We don't see any Hussars in his composition, so I think he might have cancelled it in favor of getting out some Lancers. And he's definitely in a difficult spot. We see Harrison now finally moving in and just doing a little bit of poking. This is exactly what I talked about. I think, what was it, about 5 minutes ago? He needs to get some sort of siege in here, and he doesn't have that. And the only way that he's going to be able to surpass this or to get through this fort is to either overcome him when it comes to his mass, which is very risky, or to begin sieging him from this side. So I think he should be able to have his hand mortars sit on this side and be able to shoot down this fort. Even just, 2 or 3 hand mortars is more than enough to get the party started. Ideally, you'd want maybe 5 to 6. And now finally we see a castle going down for Harrison. This is exactly what we need. So I would say that it's coming in a little bit late. He probably could have done this, definitely opened up this option for himself maybe about 5 minutes ago, but nonetheless, it's better late than never. He's still going to be able to seal out this game, I suspect. Now, Cav HP as well coming in, so not opting for one of those infinite resource shipments. And now the skirmishers, well, the skirmisher units moving up, the arquebuses and the CKN, beginning to take out villagers. Now, he doesn't have many villagers as it is. 5 Lancers coming out, or 4 Lancers popping out the front of that fort. And we do see Harrison posturing in a position. Now, nOel knows that if he doesn't commit now, he's going to be in a difficult spot. So nOel moving forward, charging with the Lancers. These aren't Garachistas. First Lancer getting taken out. They are now getting snared. He needs to be making sure that he focuses. Beautiful micro coming in from Harrison as well. Moving up with the Changdao. Lancers absolutely getting crushed, down to 23 Lancers at this point. Lancers just giving up and saying, you know what, we're just going to fight fire with fire. Putting down their pikes and laying it down. We've got 19 Lancers now on the front line, and slowly that number begins to dwindle. The units on the back line haven't even been touched, unfortunately, for Harrison, or for nOel. 12 Lancers now coming down. And we see that the Lancer count has almost dwindled down to nothing, down to 9 Lancers at this point. Harrison just absolutely putting in work at this point. Not even going to need, I suspect, those hand mortars that we talked about earlier. And finally, on the back line, we see the Musketeers are now the next thing that begin focus down. We don't have a single Lancer left. The fort getting in a little bit of action, but it's not going to be enough. And Harrison really just showing what his Chinese is made of. And good game being called for Harrison. Well played. And now we see both players even up the scores with 3 points. So let me fix that one up for you guys. Congratulations to the faithful in the chat for Harrison. China looking very strong in that game. I tell you what, I see China and I go, I want to play China.